Good evening, race fans. Welcome to CRN's live coverage of the Casual Sim Racers League multi-class series as we are here at a very, very wet and maybe not rainy anymore. Maybe the rain has subsided, but you see the track. It is very wet here at the Autodromo Internacional Algarve. And it's going to be a test for a lot of these drivers for sure. Qualifying is done. Have little issues with SDK. Just wanted to kind of mess with us, as it typically does. But as you see right there, the rain is still coming down here on the track, so it'll be wet and wild out there to say the least. Carlheim, we're joined in the booth by Jimmy Covert. Jimmy, race number 3, and the Core GT series had to deal with wet Hockenheim last week, and now we get to see how the CSRL drivers do with the wet Algarve.
Yeah, let's get wet. Yeah, wet racing now part of iRacing. The drivers screamed and hollered for it, and well, we're bringing it here live on CRN. So, gonna be a lot of mist, a lot of slides, a lot of unique lines through the corners. It's a lot of finding the dry spot. And if this track is drying up, the lines will start to form, but you'll still have wet areas. So you really got to be careful before you make a decision to go to dries. And, a lot of times you're out there trying to cool them tires and get things like kind of all put together. It does look like we have a nice sized field here tonight. I'm just counting 39 drivers on the docket here. Field pretty much split in half. So it's a good roll call here for the drivers here tonight, but they are qualified. Let's go ahead and run through those real quick for you. And obviously starting on the pole up front for the LMP2s is going to be Crick Jensick with Dace Keeling, Bryce Reiner, and Anthony Hutchinson. Devin Young, Trent Laylock, Christopher Reagan, Jim Herrick, Marco Chacon, Bill Burrell, Jim Dutton, Glenn Lazon, Jack Ohlenberg, Michael Borlowski, and Herbert Pineda, along with Paul Smith, will be your LMP2s. You got Noah Bourgeois and Kyle Kobler up there for your front row for the GT3s. So Noah's got to try to get through some of the get around this track in the wet weather, but then has the likes of the LMP2 probably pass on here sometime during this 45-minute race. But back to the rest of the field, you have Christopher Hamilton and Dave Tilford. They're row number 2 for GT3s. Randon Dilemma, Tyler Turville, Stephen McLean, Steve Santana, Cameron Burke, Michael Antanya, Brandon Potts, Christian Ortiz back there, and row number 28 overall, or in position 28 overall. And you got Frank Pisano, Logan Bram, Cesar Colon, Ryan Luna, Stephen Latrelli, Stefan Price, Luis Rivera, Ian Wilson, John Espada, Jay Little, and Paul Bailey in the back of the pack. So you see through the overall standings, you do see where some of them fit. These other drivers should be, yeah, they are situated with their classes. So sometimes you just start in the back of the pack of your class, and that's just where you put, even if you're slower than GT3s. And some people don't have a lot of experience with the rain, Carl. Could have limiting factors with the CPU. Hopefully all that is okay for us here tonight. It's another stress test here for Carl here with a lot of cars and rain.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of issues here to start with, but luckily for the field here, they're going to be starting separately. The LMP2s will get the green flag, and then the GT3s will have to wait until they get to the start zone to take their green flag as well, make it a little bit easier on the system. Still not going to be great. I'm looking at my system so far. It seems like it's handling it okay, but I did see some drop frames already out there. So do the best we can, certainly, to bring you the best coverage out there. But when you get 40 cars out here on a wet, rainy track, especially for the start of the race, when everybody's grouped together, when all the mist is kind of all right there in one spot, it can get a little bit taxing on even the best systems. So hopefully we can keep this thing as clean and clear for you as possible. I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. As we got the Wednesday doubleheader here tonight with Algarve kicking it off here for CSRL. And then we got Pit Road Speed Limit Racing Series And I believe it is their season finale, if I'm not correct. They're Jimmy,
Vegas.
at Las Vegas coming up tonight. So it'll be actually no, I don't believe it's their season finale. I think they just paid today for their season finale, but no, they're still on their round of 8. But either way, looking forward to this one here tonight, as this is race number 3, round number 3 for CSRL. Pace car is going to be coming in out of the final corner here, and we're going to get this thing underway for the LMP2s first, and then we'll see the GT3s kick it off right after that. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one here, as Barney right there on the left-hand side. Green flag is waving. Maybe that's not our official Barney right there, but either way, we got the green flag. We are heading off into turn number 1 for the LMP2s. There you see the actual Barney there. It looks like he's just kind of waving his hand. He's just like, go ahead, go. As we already have some issues here, a couple of cars sliding off the track. We'll take you back to the start of the GT3 class and see how they make it through turn number 1, as they're heading off now down into turn number 1 as well. And we'll try and keep an eye on the majority of the pack here, where you see a lot of cars, a lot of bunch up here, but it looks like they're going to make it through a little bit better than the LMP2s did. But everyone that was caught up there is out and away. Dace Keeling was one of them that got caught up in the turn 1 melee. Start up there in 2nd place. He's already back to 19th position. So again, Dace Keeling, a big factor in race number 1. He's got a long way to get back here tonight, and already having to dodge some traffic. There's Jack Oldenburg, a little bit slow coming out of the corner.
Yeah, I see an incident with Paul Bailey happening there on the start of this race as well. And, you know, one's kind of benefiting here early on, obviously, are the likes of teammates of Craig Jancic and Bryce Reiner being able to execute turn number 1. And, you know, Carl, you think cold tires are bad on lap number 1 on a sun track. On a wet track, they're even worse. So those wet tires take a little while to warm up. They do get a little bit better, feel better to drive, but it is all about finding your braking marks and the racing line, and you have to know where they're at. And you can see people going sideways here. Number 3, a big one here up front again with Anthony Hutchinson going sideways.
Well, Jimmy, you kind of mentioned 2 key words there that are not exactly normal here tonight, and that is racing line. In the wet, in the rain here tonight, the typical racing line really may not be where you want to be.
No. A lot of times it's probably the opposite. It's probably why I tend to do fairly well with rain tracks, Carl. You know, the fact that you know, water might be laying in that race line, and you know, to get to find a little drier track where it's not pulled up, where the car doesn't hydroplane, cars do lock up early. You're going to see the drivers kind of, you know, when they're behind one another, try to avoid the mist from the back of these cars. But from the field right now, still Craig Jancic and Bryce Reiner. Got Noah Bourgeois working his way through as well, with Kyle Kobler leading the GT3s.
You've seen Chris Hamilton having the issue early on as he spun it and put it in the kitty litter, and now he's trying to work his way back up through the field. And in a battle right now with Steve McLean out there for the first time this season. Leader in the GT3 class, same as last week, it is Noah Bourgeois, and he's putting some pressure on some of these LMP2 drivers here as well, and maybe wanting to look and try and get a top 10 overall. And it's a track like this with conditions like this. I'm not really surprised that there's a few LMP2 drivers that actually got out qualified by GT3s here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the LMP2's speed comes from their top end, you know, all the way in. Once they get into 6th gear, that's where they get a lot of the area. But with having to slow things down, having to back up their corners, they're just not getting quite the speed they would on some of these straightaways without pushing the car to the extreme limits. And in the rain, it's really kind of hard to do that. You can see if you go up to the front with Bryce Reiner and Craig Jancic, even 1 and 2, they're running 2 separate lines coming down the front stretch just so they can see heading down to turn number 1. You know,
try and hop on board here down the front stretch and show you what it looks like from the point of view from the LMP2 here of Paul Smith. And you see he's on an opposite line. He's not even right behind these other GT3s that he's working to try and pass right now. But you see the brake lights, and that's only because they're braking right there. Other than that, you wouldn't be able to even see that. You see how much mist is getting thrown up right now by these cars, and there's ways to kind of work around that a little bit, with your system, just like the same thing, when it comes to night races. There's ways to kind of trick the system and up your contrast and your brightness and all different kinds of things to make it seem like even though you're racing at night, it's pretty bright and you can still see what's going on if you want to. But if you want the full immersion here, this is what you're going to have to deal with. It is very, very difficult to see running Dilemma off the track there as well. We'll take a look and see. Looks like Red Dilemma with a meatball as well.
Yeah,
so
Chimera going off track as well.
This might have been a pretty big one here for the 82. Take a look and see what happened. And looks like just overshot the corner. And you see right there, as soon as you get in the kitty litter, it's just as bad as grass. It's just going to slide you right into the barrier, and that's exactly what happened. So Dilemma ended up having to try to limp it back to the pits, but he ended up having to tow back to the pits after it was all said and done. And you see right there, the car heavily, heavily damaged. Looking at a pretty good battle right here with Chris Hamilton in the 64, and then Christian Ortiz-Torres in the 11, almost close to contact right there. And Hamilton, again, trying to make his way back up through the field, now back up into to fourth in the GT3 Pro class, but quite a ways back right now as he's sitting about 18.5 seconds back already from Noah Bourgeois, and any kind of advantage is not good if you're trying to compete and battle with Noah Bourgeois. Kyle Kobler is the first one in line behind the said number 24, and he's already 2.5 seconds behind. He's got LMP2 right behind him, but you see the gap right there up to Bourgeois, your leader in the GT3 Pro class. In the AM class, just a couple of spots back. I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right one here. Yep, it is Michael Antania here in the number 13, as he is running 6th overall in the now something doesn't seem 6th in. Now he's first in the GT3 rookies. I'm wondering why it's showing 6th for his position. I guess it's maybe taking all the rookies into consideration for some whatever reason. But anyway, either way, he is leading the GT3 AM class, and then in the GT3 rookie class. In the AM class, it is led by Cesar Colon Torres, as he's got about a 4-second lead over Christian Ortiz-Torres, who you've seen battling with Hamilton early on. Hamilton's already gotten past Dave Tilford as well. As Tilford started in 24th, he's still in 24th right now, but it looked like he may have had some kind of speed here tonight, just not feeling it yet with the Mercedes. And Jimmy, is there one type of car or another that you maybe feel more comfortable with in the rain when it comes to the GT3s, or is it just you got to kind of know the car and what the car likes to do?
When everything was said and done, when rain first came about for GT3s, Porsche seemed to have a slight advantage over some of the cars out there. Now, I haven't had any chance to really get out there with the other cars. We've driven, obviously we've had the Spa 24-hour in the Corvette, and there goes, who is that? Somebody's going around, did a 360, number 13. That's Michael. Was it? No. Who's the number 13 car? Just see him doing 360 on the screen.
I don't see a number 13. Oh, there it is, Michael Antania.
Oh, 13th position. Yeah, 13th position.
No, yeah, that'd be why.
Just you're going around there. It's Michael Antania, doing what is it? What's that swimming things that they do?
Pirouettes or
pirouettes. Yeah. Doing some Olympics out here at
synchronized swimming.
Antania.
It certainly could be here tonight, as we got some issues here right in front. We got a little tangle up here, and of course it gives us the worst camera view to take a look at it. But we'll take a look and see what happened here with. This is Paul Bailey And you got Chris Hamilton right behind him. And it looks like Hamilton went for a bit of an aggressive move into the corner and ends up being caught up in the parking lot. As you see Dave Tilford and Cesar Colon Torres, Christian Ortiz Torres working their way back past. And it's kind of tough with these GT3s because, like you said, the LMP2s make their money on the high end. A lot of times here in the rain, you're not even fully on the gas pedal. Maybe down the front stretch is might be the only place you're on the full throttle, as Bryce Reiner was close to, I really hate that it keeps going to that camera there, was close to Craig Jansick there, but it looked like he went off the track unless I was looking at somebody else right there, because he's still keeping it pretty tight here to Craig Jansick, as this is 1 and 2 overall. Trent Blaylock is third in the field here and third in the LMP2 Pro class. Not sure why it's showing the rookies on top. That doesn't make any sense, but it is what it is. I wish there was a way to physically set which ones should go directly in line with the timing and scoring there. But it is what it is. You can at least see the different divisions here and who is where. But Jansick, Reiner, Blaylock lead overall and the LMP2 Pro. Anthony Hutchinson with a pretty sizable lead, about almost 19 seconds right now over William Burrell and Brandon Potts, as they're your top 3 in the LMP2 AM class. Christopher Reagan right now running in 4th overall. He leads the rookies for the LMP2s over Dace Keeling. He was making his way back up through the field pretty nicely, already up to 8th overall and 2nd in the rookie standings, with Michael Brolaski in 3rd. Then switching over to the GT3s, 1, 2, and 3 is Bourgeois, Kobler, and Tyler Torville. But pretty big separation between all 3 of them, with Bourgeois 3.5 seconds ahead of Kobler, and then Kobler about 7.5 seconds ahead of Torville. In the M class, it is Cesar Colon Torres, also with a pretty sizable lead, 4.3 seconds over Christian Ortiz Torres, and then Steve McLean. And then in the wrong one there. In the AM or the rookie class here for the GT3s, it's now Cameron Burke leading the way over Michael Antania and Loganer Branson. But really here tonight, more so than in the last couple of races, you need to survive. You need to just keep that thing on the track, keep plugging away. If you're faster than somebody ahead of you, as you see Michael Antania getting a little bit aggressive there, you still got to be patient, and maybe more so than other times out there on the track. You really got to kind of feather your way through this thing. You can't make any kind of send moves, because if it doesn't stick, you're going to take yourself and your competitor out. And same thing vice versa. If you go to make a move, your competitor's not ready for it, there may not be anything that he can do other than take you out. So you really got to use some patience here.
Yeah, you gotta trust the guy behind you. A little bit of, a little more of a buffer. I mean, it's just like driving. Well, what you should drive like in wet weather. Give a little more space. As Bryce Reiner really on the tail there of Craig Jansick, with a little bit of lap traffic, obviously, with the GT3 cars as they work their way through the field here. We're 1 and 2 still nose to tail. And one little slip up, and we've seen during practice just a little bit. Getting in the kitty litter sideways grips really well.
Doesn't work out too well.
And we'll flip the car upside down. So you'll hit that, go sideways, tires grip that, and you'll go, and you'll roll the car over. And maybe you can get back on your wheels. And I don't even know how well they can get out of the kitty litter here when it's wet. So things kind of change with iRacing when it does get rain and. They're slower. These times are nowhere near, what they would be doing here. You're looking at, 154s up front for your top drivers. You do have a few faster drivers back a little bit in the field, maybe feeling a little more comfortable with Anthony Hutchinson with the 152.4. And even Dace Keeling coming up to the field as well with a 152.7. So, we've seen Dace fall all the way back and already in the clutches of in the top 7 here, and we're only a little ways in to this race. So got plenty of racing still here remaining. Still right around what we got 30 minutes,
Yeah,
almost a little over 30 minutes though.
Yeah, we're only getting up to the third way mark through this race, so still a lot of racing yet to go, and at least one pit stop. I would think tonight here there shouldn't be any threat of a second pit stop needed. I think you're going to be off the gas so much, or you're going to be saving so much fuel that one pit stop is going to do it for you. I don't think there's any chance that the GT3s can make it all the way to the end. Maybe no pit stops here. They start with 40% fuel. It's a 45 minute race, but again, you're off throttle so much. Maybe it's an option. Maybe we'll see what these drivers can do here tonight and see if they can really stretch this thing out and make it interesting. But the field's certainly starting to spread out there. You see the track map as we got one here tonight, and you see those dots all over the place here already. A couple little gaps out there, and this is where a crew chief can be really, really helpful if you have one that can kind of figure out, okay, a 30-second pit stop is going to bring you out in this location. You're going to have some clean air, and tonight clean air isn't necessarily important to try and turn in some fast laps, because you got no dirty air messing with your downforce. It's more just so you can see. I mean, it's so tough out there and trying to pick your lines, and you're already racing offline to begin with and trying to tackle these corners. You see right there, that's what happens when you go a little bit too much into the inside there, as the water's starting to puddle up on the curbing, and Bill Burrell experienced that a little bit right there as he got onto the curbing. It was a little bit of a puddle situation, drifted out there, and made a little contact with Michael Brolaski. But either way, both of them are going to get away with that one, as it could have been a wreck taking both of them out.
Yeah, drivers continuing to having issues here, and it's I'm back in the field just a little bit, watching the GT3 drivers race here. Carl back for 7th and 8th, and these two drivers have been going too wide, side by side, passing each other, from one corner to the next, just kind of taking turns, giving each other room. It's one heck of a battle as they
not
battle
too much
room. No, not too much room.
There's a little
it's been pretty intense for these two back here, and but you kind of expect it, and they're trying to find the grip. They're trying to find what the cars can do. These tires are now heated up, so they do get a little bit of grip, especially with these wet tires out here. And one thing, Carl, maybe drivers aren't used to looking for is the automatic pit, and if they got their tires set, making sure they have the right tires on. If they decide to come out, oh no, it's gonna go for a ride.
And luckily there was a ton of runoff right there that he's able to get it on the kitty litter and get it turned back around.
Great battle gone bad.
Yeah, that was a rough spin right there, but he walks away scot-free. He's going to lose some time, lose some positions, but he survives, and that's really the main thing here tonight. Just kind of like the March Madness tournament that just came to an end. It's survive and advance. That's what you want to try and do here tonight. Survive, advance up through the positions if you can, if somebody else in front of you doesn't survive. As they scaling last time by, fastest lap of the race, a 152.39. I think these drivers may be starting to get a little more comfortable out there.
Yeah, they seems to have found that comfortable zone, and as I think there's some rain on the track, and I mean obviously there's water on the track, but there's some parts a little more than others, and I'm not quite sure. I don't know if iRacing changed it, but you really have to be careful, even the paint on the track.
Yes.
When paint's wet, if you're out walking around and you walk across the painted area, and your feet might slip. Well, same thing happens here with these cars. The rubber hits the paint, and it's slick like ice. And if you're not ready for it, or if you brake on it, you can find your car going around pretty quickly. Craig Jancic trying to make quick work of some of these drivers, and obviously trying to get by them without getting into them, because he's being hunted by his teammate Bryce, and working their way through the GT3 traffic. And this is good to see. They're not making crazy sends. They're trying to race as best as possible, going around the slower cars. And we always tell drivers want it to dry out, to just, if you're a little bit slower, just be predictable. The faster car will get around. Here tonight, Carl, I don't know how predictable anybody can really be, because more than likely what they really want is just to be able to see out that windshield.
Yeah, which is hard enough as it is. I mean, and you see right there, we got our camera up, up a little high. I mean, you've seen it when we were on board earlier with who was it we were on board with? Big Paul Smith in the LMP2, and you see right here the 119 of Christopher Reagan just searching around, trying to get out of the line of Marco Chacon just so he can see, and trying to figure out where the braking zone is, because it's hard enough just following somebody, but when you're coming up to a corner, you need to know where you got to brake, where you got to turn in, everything like that, and it's very tough as you see a gaggle of LMP2s here trying to work their way around the GT3, and you see a couple of them getting held up here. But it is rough out there, and I know Ricky out there Ricky Renner would love to be out there racing with them. We mentioned or talked to him last night about it, that he loves him some wet weather racing, but unfortunately, yeah, work gets in the way sometimes. That damn work. But either way, good race out here so far. I want to thank our sponsors for the series: Chandelier Leather, Sim Gaming Expo. Sim Racing Gaming Expo, then 40 Racewear, Digital Sim Sports, Ace Motorsports, and Martin PC for everything that they do here for the series. As we are getting close to the halfway point, but that just means we still got a lot of racing yet to go. We've only had maybe about 6 or 7 cars into pit lane, making a pit stop already, maybe just looking to get it out of the way. I mean, you're not going to be looking at taking tires here tonight. These wet weather tires will easily last the entire race, especially the fact that it's still raining out there. If it was something where it was a transition, to me, that's where it gets even tougher.
Oh, it's one of the things, obviously, with a shorter race like this, it's, still a decent amount of time to be out there, but they don't get the full effect of a full transition, a dry to wet and a wet to dry, where the tires, right now they're searching for a not so wet line, but as the track dries up and you're on wet tires, now you're actually looking for water to keep the tires cool, because these tires will on a dry track get really eaten up really quickly, and you lose a lot of time, and like the time is pretty significant between dry tires and wet tires. It's just watching your times. If you can be consistent, you'll watch your time start getting faster and faster as the track dries up. But it's still raining out in certain sections of this racetrack. These drivers won't have to do that. Like you said, no transition here tonight for any of the drivers. They'll be on wets all night tonight. And Carl, my one concern is with some of those drivers pitting is what tire compound do they have set for their automatic load? If they were to take tires, because what a big mistake that would be to come out and be on slicks. You'd come right out of as soon as you drop down and start moving forward.
You're done.
You realize, you realize you're toast. Might as well just tow it and put your wet tires back on, because it would just take more time to get around track.
A tow would probably be quicker in that situation. I mean, it's worse than accidentally taking a fast repair. It is absolutely detrimental to your race if you accidentally put dry tires on in a situation like this. You may make it out of pit road. You probably won't make it through turn 1, plain and simple. But do want to mention our point standings as they come in here, as we didn't get a chance to talk about it earlier. You see the 2 men right now are the ones that are on top of the points, and Bryce Reiner really putting out there pretty far on the wet line and out there in the paint, but he's able to keep it close here to Craig Jancic, as Reiner has the points lead by I don't know why I can't add right now, but by 24 points over Craig Jancic. Christopher Reagan in third in the pro class for the LMP2s. In the AM class, it is Steven Barusa with a very sizable lead, well over 100 points already over Jim Herrick in second, Brandon Potts in third. In the rookie class, Dace Keeling, certainly a major lead over Logan Branson. I'm sure he's going to end up graduating out and probably go into the pro class. As speaking of that, we got a battle for the lead. Whoa! As Reiner putting major pressure here on the 97. But we'll keep going on here as I settle down here for a second. The GT3 Pro class led by Ricky Renner right now over Alex Zart and Tyler Torville. Norbert Bourgeois back there in 4th position. I'm sure he'll be looking to make up some major ground here tonight. Cesar Colon Torres, Ian Southern, Christian Ortiz Torres are your top 3 in the GT3 AM. And then Greg Conaway, Michael Antania, and Cameron Burke are your top 3 in the rookie class. But we got another battle here as, again, Craig Jancic trying to make Bryce Reiner go the hard way around the outside. He hasn't been able to make it go just yet, but yeah, the outside isn't exactly a bad place to be in the rain. It's off the racing line, and it's probably where you actually want to be. As we'll hop on board here with Reiner and try and show you what he can see, if he can see anything. You see him taking an offline right now, down into turn number 1, braking late into the corner. And you see him using up all that paint on the outside right there. Craig Jancic still battling on the inside here. Got some lap traffic coming up here. Will a pick move be used? Reiner's able to keep it alongside of him through the corner here. He's going to have the inside, but Jancic hangs it out there on the outside. He's going to retake the lead.
Yeah, great battle up front. As those two teammates are trying to compete and get through the traffic and be safe and be fast and not lose one another. Obviously Bryce would love to continue to hold on to that points lead over Craig Jancic, as Craig is known to be pretty top notch when it comes to most tracks. And obviously rain throws a little bit of a equalizer out there. That one thing that will kind of, makes the playing field just a little bit harder for the drivers with some talent. So you can get a really fast driver that doesn't drive in rain very much and have some problems, especially pushing the car to the limits too often and at the wrong time. But these two up here battling back and forth. I'm sure everybody's kind of aware of how much faster the LMP2s can be. They're pretty much through most of the field right now. They're working their way through the back or the front part of the GT3s as they've made their way around Christopher Hamilton. So obviously Tyler Torville next up here. That's running in Pete number 2. So yeah, it's always interesting to see how the LMP2s handle the traffic of the GT3s and how the GT3s will pan out here for battling each other, and when and where they allow the LMP2 by, because there is certain sections, Carl, and I know being out there and driving an LMP2 in the rain, how important it is to kind of pick your spot where to pass somebody safely without too much aggression. But when you're being tailed, kind of like the Craig Jancic and Bryce Reiner are at the moment, and obviously Dace Keeling putting some pressure on I think Trent Blaylock right now. And making that pass there for P number 4. So Dace Keeling continues his march through the pack. He is back 20 seconds from Craig Jancic, and that's a pretty big tall order here with only a little less than 20 minutes remaining. But what a comeback here after that lap 1, turn 1 incident there for Dace. But it looks like he should have a pretty decent finish here when everything is said and done. But yeah, drivers continue to battle. I continue to see some people on and off the track, and that's just runoffs for the most part, or maybe some 360s. And I do see a couple people come in the pits. I see Michael Antania came in the pits. Frank Bassano was in the pits and left. Noah Bourgeois entering the pits now.
Yeah, Apparel is starting to get busy here, especially for the GT3s. LMP2s, haven't seen too many of them come into the pits. Marco Ciccone, your highest running driver that has come into the pits, as he's running back there in 9th position overall, as he came in on lap number 12. And Devin Young, he came into the pits on lap number 8. He's back there in 13th position. So we'll see when the LMP2s make their way into the pits. But Craig Jancic leads the way. Bryce Reiner in 2nd. Anthony Hutchinson in 3rd overall. And with the LMP2 class overall. But in the GT3 class, looking back there with Noah Bourgeois making his pit stop, Tyler Torville gets a little time in the sun as he is leading right now by 15 seconds over Noah Bourgeois. So if we get a Phantom yellow and we can finish this thing under yellow, Tyler Torville's sitting pretty nice right now. But obviously that's not going to be the case here tonight. No yellows here on the road in CSRL. So Tyler Torville is going to have to make a pit stop at some point. He'll give that lead back to Nor Bourgeois at that time, and we'll see if Bourgeois can survive and make it through here. He certainly has had a little bit of a rough start here to season number 16, but he's got the speed to work his way back up through the points for sure, and especially with Ricky Renner not being here tonight, he is going to have it maybe a little bit easier as here comes a move here by Tyler Torville to the inside of the 15 of Stephen Latrell, as that is just a pass for a lap position right there. But so far, so good. We're past the halfway point. We're actually getting about 2/3 of the way through this race. So we'll go ahead and step aside for a brief moment. Give everyone out there in Sierra Nation a little love to hear it.
Love to hear it.
Looking back at your lead right now, Trent Blaylock is your leader. You see him right there out front in the number 3. He is yet to pit, though, and you see some moves being put on by Bryce Reiner to hold up Craig Jancic as he takes the lead. He made his pit stop and comes out in front right now. So once Trent Blaylock comes into the pits, Bryce Reiner will be your leader, Craig Jancic in second, and I believe looks like Dace Keeling may end up being in third. A fantastic comeback for the 6 here tonight. May not factor into the win, but I'll be damned if he's not going to try and get himself a podium here tonight. As you see, around the outside goes Bryce Reiner to take over the lead from Trent Blaylock. And now Craig Jancic fishtailing going through the corner here, the penultimate corner. There's a little wide there, maybe just trying to set up a better exit out of the corner. But your leader is Bryce Reiner after the pit stops here. I'm sure we'll see Trent Blaylock coming into pit lane now to finally get his car serviced and get that fuel to get him to the end of it. But you see, here we go down into turn number 1. Your leader looks to the inside here, and he's going to make the move there on the 13, just barely inside of Antoni. But now he's got the 52 in front of him, side-by-side battle, 3 wide with your leader all the way on the right. Going to get the pass done, and now Jancic trying to figure out a way to get around quickly as well. He's going to do so. He's not going to give up this win that easily, as he's now back in the hunt here once again.
Yeah, a lot of times you can't get caught up running your mirrors, especially when you're in the lead here. And Bryce obviously had a fantastic race following Craig Jancic around, and maybe Craig flashing the lights saying thank you for letting me by, or hey Bryce, slow down, wait for me.
And
a little bit of a slide by Craig Jancic, and he's gonna go around.
And that is not what Jancic wanted to do. He was pushing it, trying to stay with Reiner and put the pressure on, and overdrives it. We'll take a look at it here one more time here real quick. Coming down into the corner, you see him already a little bit of a bobble heading into the corner, maybe put him offline a little bit. But then right there, mid-corner, maybe just goose the throttle a little bit too early, sends the car around. Luckily, it's wet enough that spinning the car back around pretty easily here. But that is going to put him well back of the lead, 8.2 seconds back now of Bryce Reiner. So take a look at the next battle on the track, and that is with Anthony Hutchinson, your leader in an LMP2 AM class, but trying to battle with 5th place overall, Marco Chacon.
And just kind of looking through who's battling who right now. Obviously, Marco Chacon, we just talked about. Another battle is back with Michael Prokowski and Bill Burrell, as Bill Burrell goes around on the outside. So another set of LMP2s back in the pack, 4th, 13th, and 14th in the LMP2. So the battles do kind of hit pockets here and there as they come and go. But right now, Marco Chacon got that spot, and it does look like Herb Pineda is going to bring that LMP2 into the pits and relinquish that to Marco Chacon there. It's going to be in P number 4. But some drivers having some tough luck here tonight. Some your fast drivers, we talked about it. Obviously, Dace Keeling coming back through the field. Obviously had speed here tonight, and finds himself trying to catch up to Craig Jancic that had a little bit of troubles there. But that's still 15 seconds in between those two. And Bryce Reiner starting to check out here just a little bit. Able to get that kind of clean air, just needs to work the traffic and run this clock out with only 4 minutes to go. 9 seconds is a ton of time to make up. It can be made up in one corner if a mistake is made. So Bryce just needs to focus and make sure to bingo this thing the rest of the way. And he'll get this win here at this rain-forsaken track here tonight. But Noah Bourgeois, obviously your leader over the GT3s. Right now, and Tyler Torville in P number 2 has kind of took that over there. And we talked about the Porsche a little bit, and Tyler out there in the Ace Porsche out there doing a fantastic job, getting around here. It's I don't know, it's something with the mid-engine cars, Carl. I think because of well, one, it corners very well, and two, the power is kind of I think the weight's distributed pretty evenly. So maybe that's why Porsche was more preferred or drove better. I know the Audi supposedly drove pretty well too. Never cared for the Audi too much as far as rain goes. And I think when we did the Spot 24, we actually we drove the Corvette, which wasn't too bad. We did pretty decent there in that rain forsaken Spot 24. But right now, this one is almost in the books. We're down to 2.5 minutes. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised, depending on our leaders go by, if a white flag is in the books here very shortly.
Yeah, should be seeing it this time by here for Bryce Reiner as he's got himself an 8.7 second lead over Craig Jancic, Dace Keeling in third, Marco Chacon, Anthony Hutchinson for your top five. And then in the GT3s, it is Noah Bourgeois, Tyler Torville, Kyle Kobler, Chris Hamilton, and Stephen McLean for your top five running GT3 drivers. But you see the graphic at the top and shows you who is leading each of their respective classes. And yeah, you mentioned Dace Keeling, a great comeback for him, and certainly would have factored into the win had he not had the early issues here tonight. But a great comeback to finish up here in P3 as long as he can hold on to it and finish this thing out. But Bryce Reiner, Craig Jancic, great battling here in the beginning of this race. But Reiner ends up staying out, going a little bit longer on the initial run, and ended up paying off just barely as he got out in front of Craig Jancic, was able to hold him off with the help there a little bit, maybe from Trent Blaylock. But white flag in the air. One more lap to go here at a wet Algarve here tonight, and plenty of spray out there. But the one spraying the champagne right now looks like it's going to be Bryce Reiner at the top, as long as he can hold on to it for one more lap. He's been getting that back end out just a little bit too much for my liking.
Yeah, it's a lot of wet rain here tonight. Fantastic run by a lot of these drivers. Tyler Torville up 10 spots in P number 2, and a lot of the GT3 cars taking advantage of some of the LMP2s having problems with a lot of positions gained as well. Christian Ortiz-Torres, Frank Pisano, Logan back there in up 7 spots, 8 spots for Stephen Luttrell. So yeah, there's a lot of movement for a lot of the GT3 cars being able to take kind of advantage here tonight of the rain.
A few more lap cars getting negotiated here, and that actually was Steve McLean, your GT3 AM class leader, as back out in action here tonight and doing fairly well here, as he is looking to pick up the class win here, 7.3 seconds ahead of Christian Ortiz-Torres. Noah Bourgeois looks like he's going to be able to survive here, just got to make it through the last lap here as well. He's got a 27-second lead over Tyler Torville. But coming around through the final corners here tonight, a great battle here once again. This time it goes to your points leader coming in. He's going to stretch out that points lead a little bit more, as Bryce Reiner is going to be your winner here at Algarve as he brings it down the front stretch. He's got a clear look right now, clear look up there at Barney, waving that checkered flag as he wins it here tonight. Second place coming down past the line right now is Craig Jancic. Third overall is going to go to Dace Keeling, coming around the final corners right now. He's going to be your top finishing rookie driver here tonight. As just want to make sure he made it through the final corner here, because you never know. But Dace Keeling is going to come home in third. Anthony Hutchinson is going to come home in your top spot here, 5th place overall. A great run for the two here tonight. And the LMP2 AM class. Down in the GT3, already crossed the line, Noah Bourgeois is going to be your overall GT3 winner, and your winner in the Pro class. In the AM class, Steve McLean already crossing the line, as he was right behind your leader. He wins the GT3 AM class here tonight. Top finishing GT3 rookie driver is going to be Logan Branson, coming home in 24th overall. But a great race for a lot of these drivers, and just the fact of surviving out here tonight. This was one that was pinned on the calendar, whether you liked it, you were looking forward to it or not. it's over. It's done and dusted with, and you can say you walked away with it, and you got done either way. We head on to the next track from here, and we'll see what that has in store. As coming up next week, doesn't get any easier. No rain, but we go a little street circuit racing as we head to the streets of Long Beach coming up next week, and then Imola and Laguna Seca will round out the month of April. But we'll go ahead and take a second here and get our top finishing drivers in for their interviews. But in the meantime, I want to say that today's race coverage is brought to you by Chandelier Leather, heritage quality goods handcrafted on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Every watch, clutch, or I'm sorry, every wallet, clutch, and custom piece is built with purpose, made to wear in, not out, and crafted to carry your story for years to come. From everyday essentials to small batch, limited run builds, Chandelier Leather delivers timeless craftsmanship you can feel. Find your next lifelong companion at chandelierleather.com, or Chandelure. I keep saying chandelier. Chandelureleather.com. 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes, custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other race shoe can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. For Martin PC, they're focused on providing high-quality PCs, rigs, and components at an affordable price. Your investment in sim racing is exactly the same as racing with an actual car. They take that same methodology at Martin. From the engine PC to the chassis rig, pedals, wheels, and shifter, you deserve components that match your desire to compete. Jimmy, we're done with the rain here at Algarve. What are your thoughts here before we get to some interviews?
I think I'm nice and dry up here in the booth, and I didn't have to strain to guess what line I should drive and spin out and flip my car. And, no, it was fun to watch, Carl. It's obviously a great time on some of these unique tracks. This one has been on the official series when for iRacing for a 24-hour event that I partook in, multi-class racing, and we had some rain. So it was unique. It was a great run then, and tonight the drivers did a fantastic job. Obviously, rain's always an issue, and you can only get better, if you get out there and figure out where and how the track reacts when it gets wet. Where it puddles, where it starts drying up. It rained here the whole time, so you just need the best line possible, and that throttle management for getting that grip out of it at a turn. With the fixed setups, you can't do things like change traction control or anything like that. So some of the things that you would do in an open race. I think the drivers overall did a pretty good job here tonight, and it took a mistake maybe by Craig Jancic in order for Bryce to kind of secure and lock that win in here, without having to battle it right to the end. So, and that's what the top drivers do for pretty much any series, any class, or any position. You're just kind of waiting for that guy to make a mistake to kind of get around easily, or not have to battle as hard. So, and that's the way it kind of works through iRacing when people are the same. But looking forward to seeing everybody here up in the booth and see how they did it out in the rain.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start it off here tonight as try and wind this here a little bit, and we'll get our top finishers in here tonight, and we're going to start with the top finisher. We'll go kind of exact reverse order here tonight, and give some of the love to the GT3s first. We'll start with our top finishing rookie driver in the GT3 class. That's going to be the 43 of Logan Branson. Logan, a heck of a run for you out here tonight. You're in the Porsche, and I was asking Jimmy earlier if there's, kind of a car that's maybe preferred for the wet races here, and he said that it seemed like the Porsche was kind of a good one to start with. How was the Porsche handling the rain out there tonight?
Oh, the Porsche was awesome. I usually drive the Porsche, so I'm used to it anyway. So handling it in the rain was nothing for me.
Well, starting 31st, obviously you guys weren't starting directly behind the LMP2s, but you had plenty of GT3s in front of you. The mist heading into turn one and down that front stretch. I mean, how much were you searching around? Like, what was it, just you just take the wheel kind of situation, or what?
Pretty much. It was trust that people in front of you aren't going to brake right away.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it
that's
didn't
about
really
it.
get much better throughout the race either. I mean, even just following one
No,
car,
no.
it seemed like people were kind of dipping out there, almost like you're trying to get some fresh air in the car. You're just trying to see.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, listen, you finished pretty well up here in the GT3 class, and you get yourself the top finishing rookie moniker as well. So congrats on the run here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Thanks for the guys at Black Saturn Racing for bringing me into this. This is my third race with you guys, and I'm having a blast.
Well, it was certainly fun to watch for us out here. Probably more fun than us trying to tackle this thing out there in the track. We'll let you guys do that for us out there. So congrats on the finish. We'll let you go celebrate. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week.
Thank
Job,
you.
Logan.
Absolutely. Thanks.
And as your top finishing rookie driver in the GT3s, Logan Branson. Top spot in the GT3 AM class is going to go to the 85 of Steve McLean.
Steve, Jimmy and Carlton Booth, copy, buddy.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah. Well, I hope you brought your umbrella and your galoshes as the rain's still falling here at Algarve, and you walk away and top in your class here in that GT3. So just kind of walk us through on how the beginning of the race was and how you dealt with all the low visibility at times.
Hey, yeah, well, I brought my goggles so I could see. But it was crazy, and as soon as the spray starts hitting your windshield, you're just like a little bit of a panic, and you're like, where's that breaking point? And then you just kind of gotta guess.
So how much time and effort does it take to truly feel comfortable kind of out there, like when you're going around the track? Because I know when you're driving in the rain and you're usually using some visuals, how far over to the left or right are you actually looking? Do you happen to have the opportunity to have like VR or triples to kind of help assist you in those situations?
Oh no, yeah, I'm definitely looking to the sides of my screen as much as I can for those visuals. And just praying.
Well, praying worked here tonight, so you did a great job. You got a great finish. I ended up finishing 23rd overall, and getting that AMP win here over your class. So I want to say congratulations, man, and give you some time for any shouts on that car here tonight.
Appreciate it. I'm glad to be back up here. It's been a while since I talked to you guys, but I do have to thank my wife for letting me race and putting the kids to bed for me. It's my night every other night this week. So thanks to her and thanks to my team, practices and all. We make the sport better. So I appreciate everybody. And you guys too. You're great at broadcasting.
Well, we appreciate the shout outs, and we appreciate you getting out here and spending the time with the league to give the show to the fans out there and be able to give somebody something to look at and see how to get it done here. Even if you're not as fast as the top drivers, you can still win. So congratulations, man, and we'll let you go celebrate this one with your friends and family.
Appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir.
That's your top spot here and the GT3 AM class. Steve McLean in the 85. Top spot overall in the GT3 is winning the pro class here tonight is going to go to the 24 of Noah Bourgeois. Noah, you survived. And what do you know? You survive and you win. It's just like Jimmy says, just like you write it up. That's all it is. You just got to survive.
Well, much easier said than done. That whole race, I don't even think I looked at the standings a single time. I was just so concentrated on keeping the car on the track and playing back and forth with LMP2s at the beginning and just trying to dodge stuff and stay off the paint and try not to die, and just every single corner just telling myself, just slow down, slow down, slow down, just take your time, take your time. And I have no idea anyone behind me. I was just so concentrated on what I was doing. And the one time that I went to mic up in the race is when I spun out in a hairpin. So go figure.
Yeah, exactly. It figures exactly. But yeah, I was kind of going to lead me into my next question is there was quite a few LMP2s that you guys had to deal with the entire race. And even some of you guys technically qualified better and higher in the standings than the LMP2s. But, obviously you start as a class. So all the LMP2s started up there in front of you. But it didn't take long before you guys were right in the mix there with some LMP2s right off the start.
Yeah, that was very terrifying to say the least. I was worried about that kind of building up into this whole event. I wasn't sure exactly how many cars it was going to be like a crossover between, but obviously with lap 1 chaos, it brings more people back there, and then they're fighting amongst each other, so that's a whole nother issue. And obviously I'm in a slower car, so it's not like I can just dive on in there and make something stick because they have the preferred car, the preferred grip, the preferred speed. So I was trying to be smart, like I say, just ultimately the goal is to not crash, and I didn't completely do that. I spun it the one time, like I said, but I didn't make contact with anyone, I don't believe, and kept the car pretty clean. So I will take that.
Well, it was certainly a finish that you kind of needed after it's been a little bit of a rough start to the season here for season 16. You find yourself down in the points just a bit, but this one's got to feel good to leave here with a good quality win, a good solid win by quite a large margin over Christopher Hamilton back there in second. So it takes some maybe momentum heading into the streets next week of Long Beach.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm kind of comfortable with this position. Last season, I started off with one of my drop races, and then I just didn't let that slow me down and just carried my positive momentum from races 2 and 3 all the way through. So I'm not expecting to have the exact same thing play out because multi-class is just chaos through and through. But definitely feels good to have some good momentum rolling after a rough first week. And hopefully we can just keep it rolling and just manage our own race week to week.
Well, definitely much better this week. We'll see what you can do on the streets of Long Beach next week. But before we let you go here tonight, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Huge shout out FMR Motorsports as always. Kyle, massive shout out to him. He's incredibly quick in these wet conditions. He arguably had more pace than me in a lot of the practice that we did, and I think just his lack of experience running at the very front of the field kind of got in his head a little bit, and he cost himself some time, relegating himself to a P3. But still, he had ridiculous pace here, and I'm sure if there's any wet weather racing in the future, he's going to be battling it up once again. Shout out as always to the girlfriend, dad, my brother. Believe they're out there watching, so shout out to them, and hopefully we'll carry this momentum onto Long Beach, where hopefully it'll be a little drier.
I would hope so as well, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe a rogue storm comes in, but either way, congrats on the win here tonight. Well, let's go celebrate. We'll see you next week.
Awesome, thanks guys. Take care.
That is your top spot here in the GT3 Pro class, the 24 of Nord Bourgeois. Now we'll switch it over to the the LMP2 class, and your top finishing driver in the rookie class finished second overall. Jimmy, it's going to be the 6 of Days Keeling.
Hey, Days, Jimmy and Carl up in the booth. You copy?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, another interesting week, and obviously some great speed on track. I guess the elephant in the room. Walk us through the first lap and how the rest of your race went as you drove basically through all LMP2s to get this great finish here tonight.
Just could not see anything, and I know Devin couldn't. So your teammate never wants to take you out, but unfortunately, that's what happened. I told him he's historically very good in the rain, and I told him before the race he's not Devin today, he's Devon, and I think he took that personally.
I guess so, but I mean, you were able to drive back to the field. How was it? And we've seen you drive some of the fastest laps on the track out there. Obviously, we kept calling you out as you were just burning things up, kind of coming through the field here, and to have that kind of pace with low visibility, super slick track. What's it take for some drivers out there to kind of get to that point to trust their ability to get around a track like this?
Honestly, it's just every lap is different. You can't trust that the car is going to do the same thing or feel the same way each lap. So it's just kind of experimenting each lap. It's like, how late can I brake? Maybe I take this line this time. Things like that. It was just historically, I'm not a big fan of the rain, so this might be the best I've ever driven in the rain.
Maybe it was the lap one, turn one incident that kind of made you drive the way you did here tonight. But you walk away with a great finish, and obviously leading the rookies here in the points. So we just want to say congratulations on the great run here tonight, and give you the time for a few shout outs on that car.
Yeah, just shout out Devin, making that interesting. Drove as hard as I could. I was for the overall championship, I definitely wanted to at least get to third. That way, Craig and Bryce didn't gain too many points on me. So overall, I'd say it was I'm happy with getting third.
Well, that you did here tonight. So just want to say congratulations and thank you for all the shout outs. And we'll let you go celebrate this one with your friends and
Thanks,
family.
guys. Have a
Yes,
good
sir.
one.
You too.
That's your third place finisher overall here tonight and top finishing rookie in the LMP2 class, Dace Keeling, and number 6. Second, or not second, sixth place finisher. I believe that's it's. I don't think it's right. For some reason, when I go back, SDK doesn't like to work well with me. But either way, I know it was Anthony Hutchinson that got the LMP2 AM class win here tonight. So Anthony, heck of a run from you here tonight, and I believe it was a top 5 overall. SDK is not agreeing with me right now, but I believe he finished top 5 overall. Either way, it was a heck of a run here all night, and just like some of the others that we talked to already here tonight, you survived, and and advanced your way up through the positions here tonight.
Yeah, that's exactly what tonight was. It was survival of the luckiest, not the fittest, the luckiest.
Well, and that's exactly what you
So
needed,
true.
because it's tough already starting the race. Up there, kind of maybe not mid pack in the LMP2s, but not too far off. I mean, starting up there in 8th place overall, you were kind of right there in the middle of it. I'm sure you had to deal with tons of spray going into turn number 1. But what was more difficult, turn 1 here tonight, or just having to navigate all this traffic?
Honestly, like this was probably the hardest rain race I've ever driven. This track is not fun in the rain. Actually, I think I started 4th. At least that's where I was on the grid. And everything was going good. I really did not think I was going to make it through turn 1. I really had zero hope that that was going to happen. Luckily, I was able to make it through turn 1, but it didn't benefit me on the last turn of the first lap when I spun it out and had to drive back around. So it was just a really hard track to drive in the rain. First time I've been at that track in the rain. This is one of my favorite tracks too.
I guess if you keep your expectations low enough, you kind of never disappoint yourself, and there you go. You work your way through turn number 1, and it worked out pretty well for you tonight. So, congrats on the LMP2 AM class victory. Before we let you go here tonight, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my teammates over at Helix 9 Motorsports. We put together practice sessions, always preparing for the races. So without those guys, it would be really hard to show up here on Wednesdays and have a good race. So I'm really appreciate them. Also want to give a big shout out to my wife, for letting me play on my rig when I should be, appreciative of that. And big shout out to my son. I'm sure he's watching. I appreciate him very much as well. So, and then of course you guys, without you guys in the league, there wouldn't be a race on Wednesday. So very
We appreciate that, and we kind of
big
feel
shout out to you guys.
we feel the same way about you guys. Without you guys out there on the track, we wouldn't have nothing to broadcast. We just sit here and just BS with each other. But which is kind of what we do in the
still
booth.
do that.
I mean, we do that in the booth anyway. So, but at least there's cars on the track while we're talking. So either way, congrats on the run here tonight. We'll let you go celebrate. We'll see you next week at Long Beach.
I appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good night.
You too, buddy.
You too.
That is your top spot here in the LMP2 AM class, Anthony Hutchinson, and the number 2. But overall, your winner here tonight is going to go to the 87 of Bryce Reiner.
Hey, Bryce, Jimmy, Carl up in the booth. You copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, one heck of a race, man. From the get-go, you were able to kind of catch the tail and battle the mist of Craig Jancic for pretty much over half the race, and stayed out. Made a call to stay out a little bit longer and able to have a better pit entry or better pit stop. One of the two come out in front, kind of put the pressure on Craig. He got involved there a little bit with another car up there up front, and I think Craig just got a little antsy trying to make sure he kept up with you and ended up making a mistake, and you were able to cruise on to this final victory here tonight and continue your points lead over the Pro Series. So just want to say congratulations for one, because it was one heck of a run, and the battles were just insane. I was impressed on how closely you were following and just trusting your teammate when it comes down to it. I know you guys raced together, but tell us what it's like out there, and for these drivers that are looking to have great runs like this. What are you doing for your current success in the series?
Yeah, Jimmy, thanks. It was a hoot. It was a battle. It was up and down race, really. From the drop of the green, just looking out my rearview mirror and seeing everything happen, and me and Craig are kind of setting sail, and that was a plus. I mean, me and Craig kind of when all that happened in the turn one and the second to last corner where Anthony spun and the gap that we started building, I was like, okay, let's just get in a groove and try to set sail, and let's play the game of who pits first, who doesn't make a mistake, who can get out before the next person. So it was for sure up and down, but gotta give kudos to Days. Days came back up through the field to finish P3 to salvage something from himself. So that's awesome to see. He will be probably most likely pro in the next 2 races, I think. So it's going to be a battle for sure with us 3. But going back to trust, you said trusting Craig and trusting myself. Well, first and foremost, I have to trust myself. I mean, I know what Craig's capable of, but me not being able to see out of the windshield because I'm that freaking close, like it goes to show that like you have to be on point with everything that you do. I mean, you can't use your brake pressure more than 50% or 60% because you will then lock up. I did that one lockup going into one of the corners, and luckily I didn't get damage or anything from it, and kind of reeled Craig back in. But I have to trust myself, especially being behind him with all the miss. So I try to pick a lane that he's not in, going either down the straight or setting up for the entry of a corner. I try to make sure that I'm offsetting him by a little bit, just in case, God forbid, I lock him up and I'm aiming right towards his right rear or left rear. So I try to make sure I didn't hit him, and it's just tough. I mean, looking back at it, and then going to the lapped car, I mean, you're that slow. Like I get you're racing and doing everything, but you got to check your relative once in a while to see who's coming up behind you. I mean, there's 2 leaders behind you at the time, and they're racing hard for position. And with me coming off that corner, I couldn't really see much besides a car, and I was trying to go on the inside, but I couldn't turn much more than I already was because the track is wet and I can't do much more. So try to slam on the brakes a little bit. Craig couldn't see crap, behind me and in his cockpit, so he kind of ran into me. So, from the first race in Sebring to now, I mean, I guess I'm a magnet for some type of incident to happen on my right front of the car. But all in all, really, really great race. Really fun race with Craig. I really, really wish we can battle it out towards the end at some point. When we're that close. Hockenheim was one of those things where kind of all separated because the lap traffic was really, really difficult. Sebring was another one of those, but this one in the wet was crucial for me and Craig. I mean, we battled so hard, and I felt like I was a little bit better than him through certain of the sectors there. Felt like I was really good in the braking zones going down the hill to the hairpin. But yeah, all in all, really, really good, and glad to come out with the W. I know Craig's antsy and he really wants to battle it out, and it just kind of sucks that things happen like that and his spinning happened. But all in all, I mean, we will take the win for Digital Sim Sports, and we'll go 1-2.
Yeah, definitely a great finish there for Digital Sim Sports. And you talked about your braking just a little bit, and yeah, obviously last season was a kind of more of an off season. Kind of wondered where you were at, but the season prior to that, I remember a lot of races. You were able to outbrake a lot of people in the in those cars and the GT3s at the time, and you're putting that to work here tonight. Obviously, the braking is different in the LMP2s, so congratulations for having an upper notch on that. It's really working out for you well so far this season. Again, want to say congratulations, man. But before we let you get out of here, give you a little time for any shots you might have in that car.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, braking is a key factor, especially with a car with no ABS and TC. Um, I'm a lover of these types of sports cars, same as the GTPs. I run these most of the time. GT3s are there, but I'm not really a fan of them just because I just don't know how to drive them. So I try to keep on learning, and I've had some off seasons and not so great seasons and messing up and everything like that. So I'm finally finding my groove. So I hope I carry this momentum towards the next couple of races. Same for Craig. I know he had a little incident, but I'll give him a shout out here. I know he wanted to win. He led most of all the laps, and I think he knew that I was a little bit better, per se, because there's a couple times that I tried to pass, and he just kind of battled me out there. So kudos to him. I know he wanted to win. He's going through some stuff too, so I just want to give a shout out to him, his family. Hope everything is well over there. If he needs anything, obviously I'm 15 minutes down the road, so I can help him any way you can. Especially on the racetrack, I can help him to make sure he doesn't spin out. That's a shot to him, but all love, I promise.
That's going to take a little bit of work.
Yeah.
Maybe next week, you can drive his car for him.
Yeah, right.
No, you guys are great, man. It's good to have friends out there. We always appreciate the shouts. Continue to do what you guys do. You make watching CSRL a lot of fun up front when we're not focused back in what's going on in the back of the pack. We can always usually come up front and see you guys doing something that might be interesting. So congratulations on the win here tonight, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family. And maybe go down to Craig's house and give him a beer.
Yeah, right. Thank you for all, and all the admins in CRN for all that they do as well. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
That is your winner overall here tonight, the 87 of Bryce Reiner. We got one more interview. We'll go ahead and let Jimmy sign off here tonight and get ready for the Pit Road Speed Limit Racing Series, as I'm sure they're getting ready to fire off over there. And I'll go ahead and take the last interview here tonight. And that is going to go to Tyler Torville in the number 22, as I kind of had to talk him into it and let him know, like, hey, you got yourself an interview. Stop asking about it. Stop arguing about it. You're the sandbagger here tonight. You are the sandbagger here in the wet. I guess, listen, it was a wet race. Sometimes, just in case, you need a sandbag to keep the water off the track. So there you go. The 22, Tyler Torville, up 10 spots here from the start after starting back there in 26th. So you made it up here, but it's not just a good finish from the start. You end up finishing pretty good here overall after starting back a little bit further in the pack.
Yeah, this was a fun race, I guess. Yeah.
Do we need to talk you into that too?
I'm just glad it's over. I mean, I don't mind a wet race from time to time, but this was, I was driving on the lake, but it wasn't too bad. I'm surprised that I got I'm gonna call it the Hard Charger Award. I'm not gonna call it the other thing.
It's okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good finish, I think. P2 for GT3, Hard Charger, 0 incidents, which surprised me the most. I just basically got into a groove. I mean, I got lucky. I mean, towards the beginning of the race, a few people in front of me, they kind of just spun it around or whatever, so I kind of got some free spots there. And I think Kyle messed up his pit stop, so that allowed me to squeeze into P2, and then I was just able to hold it for the rest of the race. So it was a lot of luck, but overall, good race.
Well, it's kind of, something I mentioned several times on the broadcast. Just like March Madness, just finishing up here, you just need to survive and advance, and that's what you kind of did here tonight. Survive the track here and advanced up through the positions, and it worked out well. And it's sometimes you need a little bit of love from your friends there by making some mistakes, whether it's on pit road or out there on the track. And certainly tonight, out there on the track, you could have a perfect race and somebody else makes a mistake and takes you out, because it was not exactly glued to the track here tonight.
Yeah, anytime I'd see either coming up on a car in front of me or and trying to make the pass, or knowing a P2 was coming up behind me, I was getting nervous, because if either driver hits the puddles just right, they're gonna hydroplane or aquaplane, whatever you want to call it, and there's potential for a collision there. So I was always nervous driving around other cars, just because the lines on the track weren't ideal for passing in a lot of areas, but it worked out.
Yeah, that it did. And you finish up here with a pretty good finishing spot as well. So congrats on the Chris Burrell, I guess, Hard Charger, also Sandbagger Award here tonight. But either way, before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Shout out to my family, my team, Ace Motorsports, you guys for putting on the show, and then everyone here at CSRL, admin team, and drivers.
All right, buddy. Congrats again. We'll let you go celebrate. We'll see you next week at Long Beach.
All right, thanks, guys.
That is your Chris Burrell Hard Charger Sandbagger Award winner here tonight, the 22 of Tyler Torville. That is going to do it here for our first broadcast here tonight, as we got the doubleheader coming up next with Pit Road Speed Limit Racing Series at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, as they're hitting their second race of the 3 races in the round of 8. So it's playoff time, full in effect for them over there. Hopefully you join us and see what they can do out there on the ovals. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe here and get you in touch with everything that Sirena has to offer. But for myself and Jimmy from a very wet Algarve, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.
Adrenaline, the fire I breathe is where I live. Incredible, an animal, one life to live. I never give up, I never give in. Some people wanna turn and run, but the strong rise under the gun. Top to the top, ain't never gonna stop. To the top, to the top.